Welcome to the Content Supply Podcast. I'm Dallin Need, and each episode we bring you an inspiring brand, creator, or message to help you discover how you can experience success in your business as we unpack stories and strategies about all things content and growing a successful brand. So this is just a whole discovery process for all of us. We feature a variety of different brands on the show, from entrepreneurs, entertainers, copywriters, marketers, coaches, athletes, to designers, filmmakers, photographers, and many more. All brand owners, all creators. So it's my belief, as with many others, that every company is a content company and has to be one to stay relevant and competitive. Because let's be honest, the internet is so full of brands that it can be very easy to get lost in the crowd. So quality and effective content really separates you. That's why Content Supply was created, to supply brands with ongoing custom content so they can engage with their customers by providing value, telling stories, and making more sales. And when we say content, I'm talking about video and audio and written or image, all and everything in between. All those. Content creation and building a business is really hard. You never finish the building and creating. Even after you experience some success, you have to keep going on the journey. Content Supply was created to be a resource, a community, and a solution to fill that large gap of content. So thanks for joining the show. Now let's get to the interview. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Content Supply Podcast. This is your host, Dallin Need. So, on the podcast today, I talked to Mathew Timms. He's a music teacher turned digital marketer. His story is pretty interesting, but also the interesting thing about this interview is that it was really just an intro call for he and I. We had met on a Facebook group online where it's an online Facebook group for service providers and digital marketers, and we decided to connect beyond the group to learn more about what we each did. And so because it was intro call, he started off with drilling me with a few questions, which was great because he didn't know anything really about me. And then I flipped the tables and talked and asked questions about him. So you learn more about me personally, which is great. And I definitely plan on a few more of these podcasts and pieces of content to talk more about me in the future. But I care even more about sharing about the interesting people all over the world and internet and interwebs. So I do like to feature more about other people and their stories and how they evolved their careers into where they are now within the realm of providing services, doing digital marketing, whether you're on the brand side or the creator, the content creator, or the content supplier side, and a little bit in between. So without further ado, let's get into the interview with Mathew Timms. Matt, thanks for being on today.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here, Dallin. What's your story and your business? And
For sure. Yeah, let me give you an intro to Content Supply, what that is. So Content Supply is something I literally just began within like the last few months. I've always been a filmmaker, and I have an IT background. In fact, that's what I did academically. So I do have a day job. So this is a side business of mine. And with Content Supply and what that I'm building this into is a distributed content as a service agency. And so to break that down even further is we create custom content for online brands and entrepreneurs, whether that content exists free on social networks or as paid ads or within a paid wall. So kind of those three different types of content. And then content then exists within four buckets or four types: video, image, podcast, and written or copy. And so you as a brand can opt into one or all four. Obviously all four helps your brand even more, even further. And so the interesting thing that with me being kind of a filmmaker first and foremost, and an artist, first getting into business, artists tend to focus more on the art and the creative versus the business and the operational side, something that actually gets sales for clients or brands. And so the whole idea around building this podcast, networking, finding other talent across the whole interwebs is to build out that kind of distributed service agency to support the clients I'm building up. But with connecting with you, do you go by Matt or Mathew?
Either one is just fine.
Either one?
I verbally usually go by Matt, but
yeah.
How'd you get into, you said you've always been a filmmaker and you're IT by trade and training. Like, how did that all happen?
Like before it evolved to what it is now? How did?
Yeah, just you. Like, how did you get into IT and video? Like, were you the kid with the camera running around, or?
I grew up loving cameras. I mean, I started off on a Hi8, then a DV tape, so a lot of tape-based. We're both in that generation where we grew up as the internet grew up. And so with that, I remember each stage and each phase of the internet and like that technology boom. And so with that, I had a love for filmmaking mixed in with tech. And so as filmmaking became more tech-based, it moved away from film, although there's still film involved. I saw the opportunity to marry the two, the tech side and the filmmaking side and the storytelling side. And so that's where I have built my career to this point. And then my evolution beyond that is to learn and apply and master the marketing side and the business side, so I can marry then the stuff that actually gets sales.
Yeah, that's super cool. What was your connection into marketing? Most people don't just go film into marketing, they go film or video into YouTube or something.
Yeah. What I was building as a content service business and experimenting in different areas is naturally evolved into this realm where I got connected to Julie Stoyan, and that's where obviously we met on one of her pages. She's one of those successful digital marketers online who's built up a community. It's true what the buzz is that marketing is definitely the language and the way to go to actually make even more money online and to market your services and products. I mean, obviously it's always existed. So to not know marketing is to fail in the long term in business. And so that's where I see that natural progression going, is to then, from filmmaking, storytelling to tech, then to marketing, and to marry all those together. With that being said, let's turn the gears to you a little bit more. First off, tell me about your background. Like what was your journey that led into Mathew or Matt getting into digital marketing?
I fell into it. Fell in the deep end. So my background has nothing to do with business, has nothing to do with marketing, has nothing to do with technology. My background is, so I went to school for music education. So I'm a music teacher. I love teaching music. I love teaching. I have a whole realm of kind of ministry work as well. So I've been on staff in churches. I've been teacher in schools. I've been private lessons, the whole mix of things. And kind of going through school, I realized at some point that, for one, I didn't want to be a band director in a school, because you live there like 15 hours a day and you're just stuck. You're doing 7 a.m. rehearsals, 9 p.m. pep band, weekends they're traveling for band competitions, and I just knew that wasn't my jam. So I was kind of like just figuring out all these other things. So I was holding some part-time stuff in some church work. And then as soon as I graduated, I started picking up a lot of private lessons. And at one point, just because of my church connections and my training, I was doing a lot of private lessons, and I was doing a lot of kind of clinic work, consulting work. And somewhere in the mix, I just have picked up technology. Actually, I picked that all up from my dad. my dad is a complete techie. He had a video company growing up, so we always had the first computers, everything. So I think I was just around that. It was just part of me. So what happened is I started working with churches. I started getting a whole bunch of lessons, and I realized I was facilitating a lot of equipment beyond just my own services. And so I was like, why am I not selling this stuff? Like I'm literally telling people what to buy, ordering it for them, giving them the bill or using their card. I could just as easily just sell this stuff. So one thing led to the next, started getting some retail stuff. At one point jumped into my own location, and I was all like, all right, I gotta figure out how to stay alive and actually make money with this. And so this was probably this was in 2011, kind of early phases of social media marketing. And that was kind of my only knowledge. I picked up a few podcasts. Probably, I think it was at that time, Entrepreneur on Fire back in the day, and some like Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn. So I was just hip on, at that time I was just like, I just need to figure out something business because I know nothing. And so picked up a few podcasts, kind of went headfirst into the social media world. And in those days, it was super easy. Ranking on SEO was really easy. Organic Facebook reach, like their whole move then was, let's get businesses on Facebook. So pages were great. Instagram, that was still a growing thing. That wasn't a business platform yet. So that was super easy. So for me, I kind of got in on the very ground level of a lot of those things, and just realized that all my experience in teaching and ministry and music, kind of all the art stuff as well as all the people stuff, I just understood people. And so for me, it made it very easy to translate that into online interaction, online everything. And just being like my ministry stuff, my school stuff, I naturally was not salesy. I was just naturally like, I just want to help guide you. I want to teach you. I want you to understand stuff. So that was just the approach I took on everything I did. And now that's people are still trying to get to that point. But that was just like what I did all along. And so I just taught people and engaged with people, and really one thing led to the next. And so it was a local music store, music school, still exists, still is growing. And you do one thing well, kind of not all that different from your story. You do one thing well in front of one audience, and someone else realizes, hey, I actually need exactly what you just did. I just didn't know what that was until I saw you do it. And so I started helping a few other businesses here and there. And then about a year and a half ago, I got married. So yeah, getting married, super fun, right?
Yeah.
At that time, I was living in a town, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is the biggest town in South Dakota that a lot of people still don't know about, but biggest town in South Dakota. And that's where my music store was and is. And when I got married, my wife was partway through pharmacy school up in northern Minnesota. So I just kind of like, you know what, I'm going to make the jump. I'm helping enough people. Let me just make the jump and keep doing that. Let's see if I can turn this into kind of a personal career type of deal. And so I did it. And, I've worked with some larger brands. I'm not sure I think I can say them. So it's like one of them is called Analogic Outdoors. They're outdoor brand, a lot of deer feed and such, so kind of working on a larger scale marketing campaigns with them, working in Cabela's and Bass Pro and kind of all the outdoor shops and the celebrities. And that's been super fun. Through my connections in music, I helped a handful of different artists, just kind of the marketing side of things. And then kind of the past probably 6 to 8 months, I've kind of branded myself more so as a Facebook ads guy because it's kind of sexy. So it's
well, and that was going to be my next question, because you say, or anyone says, digital marketing, and that covers so much material. And so you do specialize in Facebook paid advertising on Facebook, right?
it's funny. Publicly, that's what I say. I say I'm a Facebook ads guy. But the reality is I'm like, I still approach everything just from this holistic perspective. I'm like, I've owned my own local business, owned my own online information businesses. So I have a hard time disconnecting entirely, but for the sake of brand and client work, yeah, I'm a Facebook ads guy.
Yeah. Great. Well, do you offer, so with building out marketing campaigns, I guess more so on Facebook, but do you also build out sales and landing pages, or do you typically subcontract out those other services within the marketing spectrum?
I can make a sales funnel convert. I can't make it look good. So usually
look good, like with the visuals and with the copy.
Visual anything. I'm decent with like landing page, long form copywriting. I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at making sure landing pages are converting at high levels, but I'm like the absolute anti-designer. Anything that has to do with visual creativity is just way off.
Have someone else do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
With building out campaigns too, like how do you structure something that actually gets results? Like what is a little bit of opening the door to your process a little bit, but also just how do you break down your services so clients can work with you and to see that, oh yeah, there is ROI to what I'm investing in marketing, or there is, like I'm getting results. How do you kind of break that down and do that?
Yeah. So kind of the two big things I do is I either say you have an existing offer that is work, you already tested it, and you're just trying to get more traffic to it. So whether it's a blogger or whether it's a local business or whatever, you have some kind of offer that is already attractive, and you just need to translate that into a digital or into a Facebook environment. That's kind of the one type of client I look for. Because a lot of people see Facebook ads as the solution to their issue. And I've just found that those types of clients can be hard to work with because they're very protective of their funnel and their offers and their lead magnets. So to say, hey, your lead magnet's actually just trash, like nobody wants it, there's nothing I can do that's going to make people want it more. That's just a hard conversation I don't enjoy. So usually for Facebook ads, I'm just looking for people that have some kind of webinar that's doing at least decent, or some kind of existing course, or has at least some type of funnel perspective that's doing good enough where I can come in and scale and then maybe offer advice around. So that's kind of the one type of work I do. The other type is in a few different formats. It's really just like a marketing overhaul. You have a course, or you have a local business, or you have any type of business, and you just need me to come in and figure out all of your digital stuff. Like, should we be doing email? How do we do Snapchat? What type of content should we be doing on Facebook video? Like all those things, and just kind of figuring out the entire thing that's actually going to be effective for them. That's kind of the other thing I do on more of a coaching type of role. Yeah, you asked about like my process. Do you want to get into that too?
Give me like a summarized version of your process. I mean, because obviously we don't want to open up so much because you coach and you consult. So obviously to get into the nit and gritty would be more costly than a podcast experience. So yeah, just tell me a little bit.
I'll start with this. There's a lot of resources out there that are phenomenal for Facebook ads, for sales funnels, for social media. Just search around, or I'm sure we both can name 10 of them that are all really great and 100 that are really awful. But like, I think I'm going to start with this. The thing that I think I like to focus on that a lot of people miss is customer research. So my process, it starts with like just an absolute deep dive into existing customer research. And a lot of, the people that even do this, they stop at a Facebook ads level. I need to know enough about them to know who to target. And so for me, I do a deep dive. I'm reading their magazines. I'm checking out their Amazon reviews. I'm looking at their YouTube channels, the discussions that are going on. I'm joining 15 to 20 Facebook groups in that industry, and just figuring out what kind of conversations are they actually having. Who are on a macro or a larger scale. Obviously, what celebrities are they following? What stores do they shop at? Like one-off industries, how are they related to those? Like outdoor and country music are like hand in hand, and people just don't connect that. Or like organic foods and yoga, or like food health and fitness health. Like just figuring out really who that person is, a complete deep dive into their greatest pains, what keeps them up at night, their desires on a business. Are they happy? Are they angry? Are they frustrated? And then how are they actually saying that in conversation? Because I have a hard time, well, really any marketing campaign that I do that I don't spend hours getting inside of somebody's head, it absolutely flops, because then I start saying, how do I sell this person? Instead of just how do I talk their lingo. And for me, as soon as I get deep enough into somebody's head and I can talk the talk, and I know their pains, and I know their desires, and I know their dreams, and I know their family size, and I know what type of house they live in and what they read and eat, as soon as I just know them, every part of them. It's really easy to say they really need this. They really like this. They get stoked about these type of things, or they love talking about this type of things. And then it's just putting their words into that right order that's going to actually move them along to something that's going to benefit them.
I like that. So you kind of become a big brother to the customer.
Yeah.
The big brother, the closely watching eyes and the data. Yeah. That's cool. And I like I like the fact that you focused on the customer research to your process versus because there's obviously so much of a tech side and so much of the details of building the actual Facebook ad campaigns or other aspects or the client relationships. But the customer research is a really interesting area of building out a marketing campaign, because I think so many of us, and that's something that I'm discovering right now, is as I'm discovering who exactly my customer is. I think it's experimentation. Honestly, I've recently started Content Supply, and it doesn't mean I know exactly 100% who my customer is. And so I think delving into, like you just said, the discovery phase and kind of figuring out who that avatar is of your ideal customer, it's totally a work in progress or process. That's cool. That's really cool. Well, we'll wrap up the podcast portion, Mathew. Mathew. But how can people find you online? How can they learn more about what you do?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. So, hit me up, YouTube channel. I have a lot of kind of tutorials, tech walkthroughs, conceptual things, a few great webinar replays. Just search Mathew Timms Marketing. You name it, Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group. It's kind of all in there. A lot of it's under, if you start searching around for Mathew R. Timms or the handle at Mathew R. Timms, it's pretty much universally that everywhere. MathewTimms.com. Or if you like what you hear and you want to talk about working together, shoot me an email, matt@MathewTimms.com, and yeah, we'll take that conversation further.
Perfect. So Mathew, a music teacher turned digital marketer, definitely check him out and connect with him online. He's all over social media, it sounds like. Well, thanks, Matt, for doing this podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan.
So we mentioned content and brand building throughout this episode. If you're overwhelmed with running your business and you need more content, especially an ongoing constant supply of content that's custom, all in order to take your brand to the next level, then make sure to learn more and check out our website of Content Supply at contentsupply.io. So thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode.